What up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about the recent ECB attack on Bitcoin. Now, I gotta say, it's not unknown that we are getting attacked at all times by bankers, by politicians, by bureaucrats, by those that are entrenched in the fiat monetary system. And they claim, a lot of them claim, especially the ECB just recently, that it has failed to become decentralized and it's falling to fraud and manipulation. This is one of the oldest ones in the book, guys, because at the end of the day, we all know that more than 1% of the euro is used for crime, and 2 to 3% of US dollars are used for illicit activity and crime. And Bitcoin accounts for about 0.34% of money laundering and illicit activity. Now, yes, you can make the case. Of course, you can't stop all crime in this world, and you got to do something, right? I mean, but to say, oh, it's the main pathway for illicit activity, what are they even talking about? Like, do they even know what their own currency is? Do they not understand that Bitcoin is pseudonymous, not anonymous? So it actually is a worse way to transact crimes, to do and commit crimes on Bitcoin is actually worse than using fiat currency. So I just find that really funny that they're trying to build this narrative. And the funny thing about it too, and you guys can go back to the community note, it happened a few days ago, but the ECB got community noted. I love this new X platform because people are called out on their BS. And at the end of the day, people can't lie anymore. And if you can't lie, the truth shall be set free. Now, I will say, they mentioned a few things about it, and it was almost like a basic understanding of what Bitcoin is. They said that it's slow, it's costly, it's inconvenient. Now, I'll tell you right now, Bitcoin base layer, it isn't slow, it's just a final settlement layer for the new monetary system of the world. So if you want a faster solution for sending value, you use the Lightning Network or layer 2 to send Bitcoin immediately. It happens in seconds. There's several wallets like Mutiny Wallet, Phoenix Wallet, Moon, Breeze. I can go on and on. But the point is, it is extremely fast. You just need to know what you're using it for. Hey, are you going to be making a final settlement for a car or a house? Yes, maybe use the base layer because it's a better avenue to have that timestamp on layer 1. But what if you're buying coffee or you're buying an iPhone or you're buying pens and pencils or pupusas in El Salvador? All those are relatively cheap and you can send decent amounts on the Lightning Network. So just send the Satoshis there. So as for the costliness, yes, layer 1 tends to be more costly and inscriptions haven't helped that. But Lightning Network, after you set up a Lightning channel, which is like $8-9, it's relatively cheap to transact. And lastly, inconvenience. I would say Bitcoin is probably the most convenient thing to happen to this world since the founding of the wheel. I mean, you can't. It's just mind blowing how convenient it is. If I'm in San Francisco and I need to remit money back home to San Salvador, I can do so without any permission immediately, and all I need is an iPhone app on my phone, and they need an iPhone app on their phone, or Samsung or whatever, and you can instantly transmit value for pennies. So this future is absolutely mind-blowing. It's fast, it's actually cheap, and it's convenient. Everything they said, it was the exact opposite. These people are straight liars. The ECB, the Fed, all of them do not know what they're talking about. So it's funny because they called it the naked emperor's new clothes. And I just found it funny because they are the naked emperor. They only receive value because they are the incumbent, the established currency over the decades. If they did not control the printing press and they did not have the mind control of their population, their currency wouldn't mean anything. So I think yes, you can make the case that there are times where, relative to the stock to flow, there are times in that particular epoch that it could be potentially overvalued, like we saw a few years ago. But at the end of the day, we all know Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. And if fiat, there's no bottom to, there's no bottom to fiat, meaning there's no limit to the amount the government can print. There's no top to where Bitcoin can go. And that, of course, is over the long run. But the real fraud and manipulation is the euro and the dollar, because what they do is they debase people's purchasing power underneath them without giving them transparency. Why don't they just tax you for the amount that they're taking? Like, if you make $100,000 a year, why do they have to tax you and inflate the money away? Why is that? Why can't they just tax you transparently? Your 100 grand is your 100 grand, and it just holds stable value. Maybe it's even deflationary. Why can't we have a deflationary currency, right? But both the US dollar and the euro over the past century have been some of the worst performing currencies. If you were to look at them losing 99% of their value. You know, I know back in the 1930s with Executive Order 6102, in the US at least, they banned gold. And if you look at what happened to gold since then, and especially after 1971, you just see an incredible change in disparity between the hard assets and the fiat currency. All fiat currency does tend to trend towards zero, some quicker than others. Like the Egyptian pound is not doing well. The Lebanese currency and the Venezuelan bolivar and all those, of course, they're not doing well. But just because it's a cleaner t-shirt in a dirty laundry does not make it better. There is something out there that is not even dirty at all. And I personally think that's Bitcoin. Not financial advice. It's just something that I personally believe in, that it is more pure and it's not dirty whatsoever. So overall, the European Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, all these guys at the end of the day, they're rent seekers. And they're just trying to stay in power and relevant. And recently we actually just saw JP Morgan talk about some of the issues with Bitcoin. And they were saying it was pretty much overvalued significantly. What I think is funny is I think they're kind of scared. I think they're realizing, wait a second, this asset could go parabolic in the next couple of years, and we don't have enough. And so I think there's a lot of big banks and a lot of traditional money guys that are going to try to wait and see to try to have a crash or something, or try to force a crash somehow to try to get in. In the end, the ECB, the Fed, any central bank, they don't like Bitcoin because they cannot manipulate it. The code is open source. You can verify the code yourself. And if you could verify the code yourself, you can see that there's no issues with what's happening. Block by block, everything is happening according to schedule. I hope you guys all really enjoyed this podcast, this YouTube, or wherever you're listening to. I've had it on a bunch of platforms, but I really do appreciate this as always. Any support means a lot. I have a link in the description below if you did want to sign up to Strike. And if you're on YouTube, give it a like. If you're somewhere else, leave a comment or stream some sats on Fountain. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all, and have a good one.